Welcome to the Allies training module for fostering academic interactions. My name is Dr. Suzanne Abdelrahim Tartier, and I will be one of the facilitators walking you through this module. The concepts presented come from the 2012 Allies, or Academic Language and Literacy in Every Subject. This effort focused on engaging in systematic research to identify core practices for academic language teaching. For this module, we will just be focusing on the fostering academic interactions. This includes providing and supporting extended and rich opportunities for student-to-student interactions and build disciplinary communication skills. The cross-cutting practices, clarifying, modeling, and guiding, along with the foundational practice, support the high-impact practice of fostering academic interactions. So what is fostering academic interactions? The leading standards of both ELA and ELD focus on teaching students to effectively engage in classroom conversations. Specifically, skills such as expressing ideas clearly, asking and answering questions, supporting ideas and opinions with relevant evidence, and reviewing key ideas expressed and demonstrating understanding of multiple perspectives through reflection and paraphrasing. Language development is the cornerstone of literacy and learning. Students enrich their language as they read, write, speak, and listen, and as they interact with one another and learn about language. There's a focus on three modes of communication: collaborative, which is engagement and discussion with others; interpretive, comprehension and analysis of oral and written texts; and productive, collaborative creation of oral presentations and written texts. Why does it matter for language development? Collaborative discussions about content, meaningful interactions with texts, and engaging in intellectually rich tasks improve student learning. Why does it matter for math development? Research on language that is specific to mathematics instruction for the English learner population provides several guidelines for instructional practices for teaching ELs mathematics. Mathematics instruction for ELs should treat language as a resource, not a deficit. Should guide students in coming up with viable arguments, give them opportunities to critique the reasoning of others, address much more than vocabulary, and support English learners' participation in mathematical discussions as they learn English, and draw on multiple resources available in the classroom, such as objects, drawings, graphs, and gestures, as well as home languages and experiences outside of the school. Why does it matter for science development? Students need to engage in similarly sophisticated uses of language to enact scientific inquiries, explanations, and arguments. Among the essential science practices in the National Research Council framework, guiding the science standards development, are constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, and obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. Now my colleague Soha will walk you through unpacking the high-impact practice of fostering academic interactions.
Hello, my name is Soha Mahmoud Tabana, and I will be taking you through the next part of this module. So what is fostering academic interactions? This practice focuses on structuring and strengthening student-to-student interactions using academic language. It consists of two-way dialogue and paired conversations, small group tasks, and whole class discussions, with methods to ensure that all participate. At the high end, the teacher scaffolds multiple opportunities for students to produce original academic messages that require academic language. At the low end, the teacher does the majority of the talking and writing and accepts minimal, memorized, or unclear student responses. How do we prepare students to be able to have the constructive conversations that are required in the standards? Teachers can verbalize expressions that participants are thinking. They can have students use academic language to build and argue ideas with others. They can focus on listening skills and nonverbal cues. Students can achieve this through teacher facilitation and guidance. Lessons should be both purposeful and authentic. When taught explicitly and supported consistently, discussion norms create the connections by which content learning is transmitted, challenged, and enhanced. They are active listening, taking turns, ask and respond to questions, build on other ideas, continue communication, and use academic language. How do we build on conversation skills? We begin by introducing conversation norms. These are taught at the beginning of the year and reinforced throughout the year. With your students, create an anchor chart that illustrates your expectations. These norms could include sitting knee to knee, listening to each other, staying on topic, using a quiet voice, and one person talking at a time. When an idea emerges, students need to build on it as much as possible before moving to new ideas. They can use several conversation skills to help them do this building. They are create, when students state claims, brainstorm together, and express points of view. Clarify, the use of details to tell about an idea. Fortify, provide evidence, examples, support, and make connections. Negotiate, to use all of these previous skills in addition to agreeing, disagreeing, or coming to a consensus, which could be that they agree to disagree. The skill of creating ideas requires students to articulate their initial thinking and listen to the initial thinking of others. Asking students to express original ideas also helps them to tap their prior knowledge and understanding. Students need multiple opportunities to surface and express original ideas about discipline-specific content. In science and math, for example, students can converse to create ideas about their observations, patterns, problem-solving strategies, and hypotheses. In history, students can co-analyze primary sources to create novel perspectives on a famous historical figure. Highly effective content learning often comes from tasks that are designed to foster students' creation and synthesis of ideas. Sentence starters are a way to help students begin to develop the skill of create. Some examples are listed here. The skill of clarifying ideas requires students to know when to prompt a partner to clarify, when to clarify one's own ideas, and how to do so with different partners. Each response in a conversation usually tells us if our partner understood what we said or not. So the skill of clarifying is as much on the listener as it is on the speaker. The listener must show in a respectful and interested manner the need for that clarity. If two partners don't clarify what is being said and discussed, they don't have enough shared understanding to build on that idea. Therefore, clarifying is a multifaceted skill. Clarification also involves both partners figuring out ways to represent the idea, such as analogies or metaphors. This skill includes elaboration, explanation, and paraphrasing, all of which make the current ideas clearer for all involved in the discussion. The skill of fortifying ideas requires students to support or fortify ideas with evidence. This skill is strongly emphasized in the Common Core and other standards. In conversations, students should be able to identify and evaluate multiple examples of evidence that fortify ideas. In essence, this is training them to see how knowledge in a discipline is structured and valued. Even when students do understand how to find sufficient evidence, they sometimes lack that vital subskill of explaining how the evidence supports the idea. Without this explanation, students cannot show that they have a solid grasp of the effectiveness of an idea and its support. The skill of negotiating ideas requires students to propose a second or third idea that opposes or competes with the first idea. Often, ideas are put to the test and even strengthened with opposing ideas, in which case partners need to negotiate those ideas. This might mean combining ideas into a new one. It might mean coming to a compromise, agreeing to disagree, or conceding to the new idea. Students should have the academic attitude that all ideas, even if they're contrasting perspectives, are to be explored and even valued by both partners by the end of the conversation. This is how students come to their own ideas. Teachers must thoughtfully and intentionally consider routines and protocols for interaction, including behavioral norms and ways for students to build on one another's ideas. Scaffolds such as prompt and response starters, effective questioning, including the capacity to formulate and respond to complex questions, and intellectually engaging work that encourages and allows all students to participate equitably. Now my colleague Suzanne will walk you through the video example.
Now let's take a moment to watch Miss Owasowick's kindergarten lesson on fact and opinion. As you watch, collect evidence of fostering academic interactions. You may pause this module as you watch the video and then come back to it afterwards to engage in some checks for understanding.
Click here to view the video link, then come back to this module.
Prior to breaking into groups, what did Miss Owasowick remind the students of? She reminded the students of the norms for listening and norms for talking, whole body listening, and talking rules. How did this teacher build conversation skills? The students work with rug partners, look at a picture and statement about a national landmark, and use the sentence starters to guide them through the activity. The teacher says, "We've been practicing how to clarify during a conversation. Be sure to use the question starters and frames we've learned this week when you discuss the text with your group members." The students change partners each time the teacher poses a question to the class. The teacher strategically encourages partners to use the familiar sentence frames on the board for response ideas. The teacher then introduces a new sentence frame and provides multiple opportunities for students to converse with various partners. Let's take a moment to focus on the cross-cutting practice of guiding. This practice focuses on how effectively a teacher monitors and guides the disciplinary learning throughout each task and the lesson as a whole, as well as adjusts and supports disciplinary tasks to meet the needs of all students in the classroom. Specific feedback is fundamental to help students understand their work and to improve upon it. This practice also includes providing feedback and gradually removing supports to foster students' ability to work flexibly and independently. Now let's take a moment to check for understanding. Which parts of the lesson are examples of guiding disciplinary learning evidence? Pause the video as you take a moment to choose your answer. The correct answer is C. The teacher gradually moves supports by giving the student sentences to read and decide if it's a fact or opinion. Then she removes that support and has students come up with their own sentences. She also reminded them of their learning targets and what they were trying to accomplish while walking around and guiding students that needed extra support. Now take a moment to reflect on how you monitor and guide disciplinary learning for students during their academic interactions. You may pause this video as you reflect. Today we focused on fostering academic interactions. Be sure to take a look at our videos on fortifying academic output and using complex text to build on academic language for the TK2 classroom. Thank you for your time and your attention.